5 really, really British words. Welcome to this very first episode of Really British Words, in which I will explain some very peculiar, very interesting, very unusual words which are hardly known to foreign students, but are actually extremely, extremely common in British speech, especially in family or friends conversation and so on. So the first one is actually a longer phrase, sentence, which is a few sandwiches short of a picnic. And this basically describes someone who lacks common sense. And it's quite a nice insult. It's not a horrible or a nasty insult. It's actually quite endearing and is not so impolite. You could describe a friend or a family member as being a few sandwiches short of a picnic, lacking common sense. Nice person, but not the cleverest person. And I think this phrase originated in a TV show in 1987. And since then, you can change the meaning a bit because the idea is the same in the example. So you might say a few cards short of a deck, or a few nuggets short of a Happy Meal. So you can change it if you wish. The second one is called Anorak. Now, pretty much no one outside of Britain, I think, will know what an anorak is. And traditionally, it was just another name for a raincoat, like a mac. In conversation, it might also mean someone who's a bit of a nerd or a geek. For example, when it comes to trivia on geography, Thomas is such a anorak, such a geek, such a nerd. Word number 3 is Bagsy. And Bagsy is something that I used to say all the time in school in childhood. And it's a synonymous phrase for dibs or shotgun. Now, what are all of these words? Now, this is a word you would use, for example, when something is available on offer to somebody in your circle of friends and you want it. You don't want anyone else to have it. It's something that you want. So you would say, I don't know, one of your friends might say, does anybody want this last apple? And you say, oh, Bagsy. It's like, that's mine. Like, Bagsy, the last apple. This word was used a lot when I was a child, but nowadays I think dibs is sort of quite common. It sounds like a funny or stupid word. And if you're in a car situation, then you always say shotgun. You and your friends are going out. Obviously, the driver is driving in the driver's seat, and you want to sit in the front. So if you are in sight of the car, you can see the car, you say shotgun, and that means you're going to sit in the front seat. And you can't override shotgun rules. If you say shotgun, then no one can tell you otherwise. No one can contradict you. You will sit in the front because you called shotgun.
Shotgun. After you. I called shotgun.
What?
Shotgun. It means I get the front seat.
In what way could it possibly mean that?
Just does.
Look, we drove over here with me in the front seat. We've come to pick you up. We've picked you up. Now in you get, and I'll return to my previous position.
It's not happening, freak. I called shotgun.
He's right, he did call it. What? You're backing him?
Get in the back, Will.
Really British word number 4 is again just 2 words actually. It's a phrase, and that is bee's knees or the bee's knees. I believe this word originated in America first, and all the way through the 18th and the 19th century and the early 20th century, it actually meant the unimportant, very, very tiny details. You can imagine the knees of a bee are an extremely, extremely small details. I don't even know if bees have knees actually. However, after the turn of the sort of 1920s, this became part more of British sort of slang, and we use this to say that something is very, very good, very cool, is the height of coolness, or is the coolest thing at the moment. So in the 1960s, the Beatles were the bee's knees. The final word for today in this episode is bender, and this has 2 meanings. One of them is quite an insult, which I won't talk about. This meaning here today is about a period of excessive drinking. So if you are going out on a weekend, not just on a Saturday, but all Saturday day, Saturday night, and then continuing Sunday, maybe even Monday, you know, if you're that sort of extreme and stupid maybe, then you went on a bender. It means to drink excessively a lot for not just many hours, but for like half a day at least. So I hope those 5 phrases and words are quite interesting. These are just 5 of the many, many words and phrases which I have collected, and next Sunday there will also be even more interesting words and phrases which will be useful, I think, because if you say them to a British person, they will just sort of laugh and they will be very, very impressed by how you know these words, because no one else will know them. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, watch again with subtitles, without subtitles, and so on. You can also go to Patreon, the link is below, to find out the most interesting words and vocabulary which I used to explain all of these words actually. And it's important to save as much as you can and take your vocabulary to the next step, as well as the words in this video. That's all from me today, so thank you very much and see you all in the next episode.